THS Morning Show with Mr. Brenner and Mrs. Keating.
Good morning, Trojans, and welcome to the morning show with Mr. Brenner and Mrs. Keating. We're back in the office today, fresh out of quarantine. And today's special guest, Mr. Thad Dibble with the Troy Fire Department and also school board member. Thanks for being with us today, Mr. Dibble.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. And a big shout out to his camera girl, our favorite Mrs. Dibble. Thanks.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this wonderful Friday, November 20th, 2020. Please stop, stand, and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, please join me in a moment of silent meditation. On to you, Mrs. Keating, for announcements.
All righty. So congratulations to the THS Student Council for hosting a mini-thon in April, which brought in $1,866.60. Awesome job. The yearbook is still looking for a few different types of photos during this round of virtual learning. First one being hunting photos. Second, pictures of you being awesome at learning at online learning, which we know that you guys are all doing a great job. And third, how are you staying busy? Did you take on a hobby? Are you working? Send us something interesting. And you can send that to thsyearbook@troyareasd.org. How about some news there, Mr. Brenner?
Thank you, Mrs. Keating. The Athens, Northeast Bradford, Towanda, Troy, and Wyalusing schools will all be remote starting this upcoming week. President Trump's legal campaign team continues to communicate that there are feasible pathways to victory in the presidential election. However, to this point, campaign lawsuits have been largely unsuccessful. On to you, Mrs. Keating, for our sports report.
All right. There's still time to vote for Trojan football standout Caleb Binford. He's up for Play of the Week on WENY.com. If you go to their website, go to Sports and choose Play of the Week. Caleb is the first picture. You can vote once a day now until November 22nd. And the Seahawks beat the Cardinals last night, 28-21 in a last-minute sack on Thursday Night Football.
Go, Caleb.
Yay, Caleb.
Okay. In this day, November 20th in history, in 1928, Mrs. Glenn Hyde became the first woman to dare the Grand Canyon Rapids in a scow, a flat-bottom boat that's pushed along with a pole. In 1945, the Nazi war crime trials began at Nuremberg. In 1967, the U.S. Census reports the population at 200 million. For reference, in 1967, it was 200 million. Right now, we're around 331 million. In 1981, Windows 1 was released. And in 1998, the first module of the International Space Station, Zarya, was launched. So I'd like to share my screen. Looks like we're having technical difficulties here. Actually, I'm just kidding. This isn't technical difficulties. This is what Windows 1 looked like. So you can see that it does look very, very retro. So I wanted to share that. And then you can see that there's a clock in the corner. So we have some of that functionality currently, although it looks like an analog clock there in the corner. You can see you got some games. I know this is probably very similar to the games that our students play nowadays and other very interesting things to look at with the Windows version 1. Next photo I wanted to show relating to our This Day in History is this is the International Space Station. So we said that the Zaya, like part of the Zaya module of the space station was launched for the first time in 1998 on this day. Well, this is what that little part looks like. You can see it's just a small little component. And this is actually the component that's the first part of the whole station, which exists now. So they put the space station together like little pieces of Legos, and they keep adding more and more and more and more and making it like a cooler, better thing. But this was the very first part. That's what it looked like when it was first out there, and now this is the whole thing. You can see that it's really, really grown since that time. So I remember actually reading a little bit about the fact that there was going to be a space station in a Popular Mechanics magazine, and I thought it was like the coolest thing, and like, could that even be possible? And it's coming along well. And the other cool thing about it is that it's like a international effort. It's not just the United States or other countries. Like, everyone's working together. You know, astronauts from many places are getting together and living and working together and achieving great, you know, great developments in science and things. So I think that's cool.
Interesting stuff. Love it, love it.
On
They
to
actually
you.
look like your Adirondack chairs a little bit there, Mr. Brenner. That's
Yeah,
what it looks like from a distance when you look.
I'll have to share my Adirondack chairs. That's my new hobby. I'm building Adirondack chairs. Some of them are Adirondack rocking chairs, and some of them are just regular chairs. So that's the new hobby is building Adirondack chairs, one piece at a time. On to you, Mrs. Keating, for weather.
Well, the weather today looks like it's going to be a beautiful high of 60 degrees today. Sunny and partly cloudy, a little bit breezy, but definitely more mild than the last few days have been. It looks like tomorrow is going to be the nicest day of the weekend, and then a little bit of rain on Sunday into Monday. Tonight, we're going to see a low of 42 degrees, which again is better. We're well above freezing, so that definitely feels better than we've had the past few days. How about a COVID-19 update there, Mr. Brenner?
All right. So this is somewhat of good news. I mean, we're not in a great spot, but at least we're going in the right direction. Previously, we were ranked number 7 for having the highest infection rates in the state. Our county was number 7. Today, we're number 10. So we're going down a little bit in the infection rate area. Just so you know, for every 10,000 people in our county, 6.3 people will test positive each day. That's the positivity rate. Dr. Rachel Levine, the Pennsylvania Health Secretary, indicated that with the timing of immunizations, Pennsylvanians may need to continue to wear masks throughout much of 2021. So we'll just cross our fingers and see how that goes, and hopefully we get through this safely and as quickly as we all can. So now we move to our always favorite segment of the show, where we have our guest. So, Mr. Dibble, thank you for joining us. We want to welcome you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. So, Mr. Dibble, you are a captain in the fire department. You're also a training officer for the fire department, and you're also one of our school board members in the district. So we want to thank you for doing all of those things in and for our community.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
One of the cool things that you were able to help the school out with this last school year was our turtleback football practice field was getting quite dusty, and the kids were coming in and they were saying, like, with Mr. Brenner, we can't breathe on the field. The dust is getting kicked up. It's an inch thick. I mean, and it's like a disaster, and we don't know what to do. How can you help us? So I think Dr. Stair gave you a call and said, Mr. Dibble, we really need a hand. Could you bring one of those fire trucks up and kind of water down the field a little bit so that the kids are able to breathe when they're up there? Here's some photos of that.
Yep, Dr. Stair gave me a call, and we set things up, and we were able to get the dust down. It was pretty thick up there.
So you actually drove up that little pathway up towards Turtleback, and then it looks like you just barely squeezed through the fencing, and you were able to do some spraying down the fields.
Yeah, Mr. Blair, he guaranteed the truck would fit through that, and he was right, it did.
I was just going to ask, how in the world did you fit? Because I know when we walk around there, how tight of a space it is. But if Mr. Blair says it happens, it happens.
Exactly. I was very nervous, but we did it.
So we actually have a little bit of a video of that in action. So that was pretty nifty.
That's such a great representation of showing that it takes everybody to make the school go, make the school around in a day. Every person.
Also, at the end of the summer last year, we did the same thing down at the soccer field down at Tees.
Very good, very good. So that fire engine there, how many gallons of water will that haul?
Well, that's actually, it's not a fire engine. That's actually called a tanker. It holds 4,000 gallons of water.
Wow.
That's, we take that to every fire that we have that's our water supply.
Okay. What's the difference between an engine and a tank?
So the engine is our, I'm going to call it our attack truck. So we take that's our first due truck to a fire. We actually pull lines off that and go inside of a burning building. Our tanker is just our water supply.
Okay.
We could still fight fires with it, but it's mainly water supply.
Cool. Okay, so Mr. Dibble, could you just tell us a little bit about what a Troy firefighter does in our community? What are the jobs that you do?
So our number one, we are 100% volunteer. Our main job is to try to raise funds for the fire station. We do get fire tax from the communities and townships. Our other jobs are we fight fires, we go to vehicle accidents, brush fires. We do a lot of like trees down during bad weather. We just kind of do all around. We're like a handyman of the fire service. We do everything.
Cool. What would you say is the most fun part of your job?
The most fun part of the job is riding fire trucks. You know, as a kid, you envy fire trucks, and then when you're an adult, you get to do what you want to do when you were a kid.
I wish I thought of this ahead of time. I got to ride in our field hockey team where I taught won the state championship last year. So we had a parade, and one of my good friend's dads as a volunteer fire truck, and I got to drive in the truck and blow the siren and everything. And there is a picture of me with the pushing that I was. I got
smile on your face.
It was pretty exciting.
That's awesome. It's awesome.
How many trucks are there in the Troy Fire Department?
In this station here, we have. Let me count them up real quick. 1, 2, 3. We have 6.
All right.
And then down in Burlington by the Bradford County Manor, we have 1. We have another tanker down there. So we have 2 stations.
Very cool. I know you're going to share with us a little bit of the equipment in a few minutes here, but what's your favorite truck?
My favorite truck's got to be the Rescue.
Okay. And you'll show us a little bit about that, I hope.
Yes, I will. Oh, absolutely.
Very good. Could you tell us what's the most frightening thing about firefighting? Were you ever in some really sticky situations that you could tell us about?
Yeah, we've been in some rough situations. The scariest thing that I would say for any volunteer or any paid firefighter is actually going into a burning building. If you're not a little bit afraid of it, then something's wrong with you. You're going to a building that people are running out of, and the only thing that's protecting you is the gear on your back. And yeah, it's an adrenaline rush. It really is. It's something that nobody can experience. Puts a little fear in you.
Wow. All right, Mr. Dibble. Well, I think that what most of our viewers are probably looking forward to is just seeing some of that awesome equipment. So if you don't mind, I'd love to see a little tour.
Sure. So I'll take you to my favorite truck first, which is the rescue truck. So we'll walk this way. So I'll have my camera lady look down the side of the truck right here. So this is our rescue right here. It's massive. Okay. So I'm going to take you to the front of our truck and show you my favorite stuff. So follow me.
This is really fun. I hope we do.
We've done this before.
No, we've never done this. We're going to have to do this more often.
This is awesome.
So in the bumper here, we have our rescue tools that we do for vehicle extrication. Come over here, camera person. So these are our rescue tools. We have spreaders and cutters. So whenever there's a vehicle accident, we have somebody entrapped, this is what we use to get them out. These are very powerful tools. They're hydraulic. They 10,500 PSI. So they tear metal apart. So when you're talking about ripping metal, this is what you do with it.
Mr. Dibble, how much does one of those tools weigh?
They're not very heavy. Actually, this is a newer model. These probably only weigh anywhere from 30 to 40 pounds. So once you do it for an hour, you got to take a break.
Yeah.
Hopefully it never takes that long though. So this truck goes to all hazmat situations. It goes to all vehicle accidents. Goes to all fires because we have a thing on it called a cascade system, which fills our air cylinders for our SCBAs. And actually, I'll show you them. I'll show you an SCBA now as well. So this is an SCBA. This is what we wear into a fire. We use them for hazmat situations, car fires, house fires, any kind of fire that has smoke. Has 40 minutes of air. We have a mask that goes with it, so we can go inside of a building and it protects us. Now the truck that Mrs. Dibble is standing in front of right here, this is our engine. So here's the pump right here. This is where the water actually comes out of. There's a big 2,000 gallon a minute pump behind this. So the truck carries 1,000 gallons of water. So if you have everything come to capacity, your water only lasts 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's why we have to have a 4,000 gallon water tanker behind it. So I'll show you some of our tools that we use when we go inside of a fire. This is just a small amount of tools here. We have a pig head axe, a flat head axe, and a Halligan bar. The Halligan bar is used for forcible entry to lock doors. Police departments also use them to break into houses. We have a hydrant wrench, which we can use for the hydrants in town here. Bolt cutters, you never know when you got to cut a chain off a lock or something like that. We have spare air cylinders on our trucks. So when our cylinders run out, we can just throw another one on and get back to work.
And that's just normal breathing air then? That's not oxygen?
Nope, we can't have oxygen inside of a fire because it's combustible. It's just the air we're breathing right now talking. We have like I said, we have a cascade on our rescue, and then we have another in-house cascade system at the station here to fill those. So I will take you over to the tanker that you guys saw in the video, so you guys can see that up close. And
Maybe we have to consider going on location after all this COVID is over and we're safe.
yeah, you guys are more than welcome. So this is what we call our tanker. This is the truck that you saw watering the fields.
Very cool.
And it's massive. It is huge.
You have those tandem axles with dual wheels to support all that weight, it looks like.
Yeah.
Big truck.
Yeah. The truck's very big. It's very heavy. It's fun to drive. It's really fun to drive.
Mr. Dibble, how did you get started?
So my dad, when I was a kid, he was in the fire service in Troy here. He was also the chief. He was an assistant chief. He was the president. So I've been around it my whole life. Grew up in the firehouses, running around, playing in the trucks. So it's just something I always wanted to do, and I did it.
What suggestions do you have for any of our student viewers who might be interested in being part of a fire department?
So actually right now I'm in the process of implementing a junior firefighter program. We used to have one, but some things happened that we had to get rid of the program, but now I'm bringing it back. So that would be a good starting point to see if you're even interested. Because I'm a junior firefighter, they don't go in, they don't fight fires. They just kind of help us out outside. Come down here, we do training. They learn how to, roll hoses, how to put the equipment away, how to clean the equipment, stuff like that. So that's a good starting point. But if they don't do that, if it's too late, then just come down, talk to one of us, and give them a tour.
Monday nights.
7 to 9, we're here. So that's a good way to spark some interest.
Very nice. So they don't get to start by like driving the truck straight away. They have to work their way up.
That's a long process.
A lot of years in, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like a rite of passage.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta learn how to pump them too. So you can't just drive them. You gotta pump the truck.
Very cool. So what is your newest and then oldest truck?
So our newest truck is the tanker that we just showed you. And then I'll take you back to our oldest truck, which to me is like my pride and joy. It's the pride of the fire department. You see her?
Whoa.
Cool.
Wow.
This is a 1917 American LaFrance. No, 1915, sorry. 1915 American LaFrance. It was actually manufactured up in Elmira, New York. And this is our baby.
Wow. That is awesome.
Speechless. That's
It
awesome.
still drives, it still pumps. It's it's our pride and joy.
Wow.
Very cool. So what do you do with it? You take it to parades and stuff, I imagine?
We used to, it actually hasn't been out in a while because really none of us know how to drive it.
Oh,
There's only a few people, some of the older members that know how to drive it, and we'll learn one of these days. We'd like to take it up to the Troy Town and Cruisers and show it off.
That'd be really
that'd be
cool.
a great place
Yeah.
for that. Awesome.
All right.
Very cool.
Mr. Dibble, is there any other equipment that you wanted to show us?
Actually, I'll show you one other thing. It's called our ATV. So we use this for brush fires, wildlands. So this is another fun thing to drive around.
Oh, that's fun.
Mr. Dibble, do you realize Mr. Brenner's obsession with all things John Deere?
Awesome. We'll take them for a ride in it.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Mr. Brenner should join the fire department.
Yeah, there you go, Mr. Brenner.
Yeah. So that has a little water tank and a pump on there, and it's just like a little mini fire truck.
Yep, it's a little mini fire truck that you can take through the woods. So here's the pump right here, and it has your hose reel up top here.
Very neat. How many gallon tank do you have there?
It's probably an 80-gallon tank, maybe 80 to 100.
Okay.
It's not a lot.
Okay.
Very
And
cool.
there's a 4-wheel drive gator there.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Get through all sorts of interesting things, I imagine.
Yep, it's a 4-wheel drive gator. The front wheels are loaded. It also has a winch on the front in case you really get stuck.
Nice. What do you use to pull it?
This truck right here. This is it's called one of our brush trucks.
Okay.
So this is what we use for wildfires.
Wow.
So when you're having calls, you'll have calls for fires and wildfires and vehicle extrication. What are the more common calls that you get, and what are the less common calls?
The more common calls we get are vehicle accidents.
Okay.
Then luckily the least common calls are house fires.
Very good.
Yep.
So, Mr. Dibble, you're a training officer as well in the fire department. So you kind of, we were joking earlier that you're like a firefighter teacher.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So if we have to do updates for research or stuff like that, we'll do them here at the firehouse. We'll put on like a 6-hour class just to keep everybody updated and refreshed. I'm in charge of making sure everybody has the proper training, making sure it's documented. We'll do in-house training. We'll do air pack training, ladder training, hazmat classes, hazmat drills. We set up obstacle courses in here with we put our air pack on, and we actually put a blindfold over our face mask so we can't see, so we have to follow hose. We climb under fire trucks and upstairs and just kind of keep our skills fresh.
Cool.
Very cool.
Wow, this was really enjoyable. Thank you so much, Mr. Dibble, for spending some time with us and talking to us a little bit about the job and showing us the equipment. And I think that our viewers are going to really enjoy this day's video segment with hearing a little bit about you and the fire department.
And thank you to Mrs. Dibble doing a great job with that camera work. Good job.
She gave us a good
always taking
thumbs
care
up.
of us here.
All right. I think that we are kind of nearing the end of our show. So again, I just want to thank everybody, and we will say goodbye. So students, it's that time again to say goodbye and to remind you to get your work done, to log in, and to have a great day.
O Trojans, list to our joyous song in praise of the red and white, and honor your 6 feet away, we'll hold in memory dear. We'll honor our high school forever and day. For dear THS we will cheer.
Bye, everyone.
Great
Yeah.
weekend.